What's up guys, I just want to do this video on how I made this enclosure from an old cabinet that I got at a thrift store, and I'll show you how, go through the steps I followed to make this thing look awesome, and I hope you enjoy this. So what I did first is when I got this old cabinet, I ended up stripping everything out of this cabinet. So I had a blank canvas to start off with, so there was drawers up there and a few things over here which I ended up taking out. And yeah, then I took a jigsaw and ended up cutting like one of those, I'll show you what I used, but I ended up cutting a hole out here for my heat bulbs. There was a panel over here that I took out. There was a panel at the back that was flimsy, so I took that out. So pretty much I had pretty much nothing in here, so I could start this project of mine. So I ended up going to Home Depot. You can also check out Lowe's, which I did also, but I ended up buying, I knew what I kind of wanted, so I ended up buying plexiglass, 3 of them, one for here, one for the door over here, and a backdrop over here. And I bought this piece of wood over here because I needed a solid piece of wood from the flimsy stuff that was in here. So yeah, once I kind of knew what I wanted, I knew I needed tarp over here, but I'll go through that all in a few minutes. So yeah, so once I took everything out and I end up drilling, well, before I end up putting anything in here, I end up putting a sealant on this. This is from the original color of the old cabinet I bought. I ended up drilling holes that I needed. I knew I needed one for a fogger. I needed a power point over here, which is at the back over there. And there's another hole there that I sealed up. I thought I could drill that so in case I needed another power point in here. So yeah, so I drilled all the holes. I made all the holes before I even started anything in here. I ended up putting a piece of a wooden rail over here because I needed something to put tarp on. So yeah, so once I did that, then I end up screwing in the plexiglass at the back. I end up screwing in that hard board at the back, and I had to cut this plexiglass because it was kind of big. So I ended up, it stood out about that big and was a bit higher than that, so I ended up cutting. You can see I cut it around here. You can see I kind of did a lousy job because this is not easy to cut. And I ended up screwing in the plexiglass, so there's no way this thing can come out or loose or anything, so you can't even get your fingers underneath that. So I did that all around there, and then you'll see that this tarp over here which I put down, I'll tell you in a second why it's important to have tarp. And I end up buying a big piece of tarp and I end up screwing it inside this before I end up taping it down. So let me start from the bottom to the top. So you'll see that there's a big piece of tarp here. It's all at the bottom. The reason why I did that is because I didn't want any of the substrate or any moisture to be in contact with wood at all. So it's important to have tarp, and I highly recommend that you use tarp than just a sheet, whatever. You don't want anything touching the wood because the moisture inside this enclosure could cause damage to the wood. That's why I sealed everything off. It's highly important that you seal everything off. So once I got the tarp in there, I end up putting this big water bowl in here. Because Chinese water dragons love water and it's necessary for them, so I end up putting a filter in there because they love moving in water. I want to actually get a better filter, so that this is doing fine at the moment. It causes movement on the water, which my water dragons love, and also it keeps the water clean. And if you look carefully, I don't know if you can see them, there's little guppies in here, which is also awesome bonus for them, so they can end up eating whatever they catch, and also gives it kind of a natural look about. So then I got the substrate that I put in here. I'm like jumping over the decor before telling you the rest of it. Sorry about that. But anyway, so yeah, when I said sealing everything off, you'll see at the back here, there's like clear silicone, 100% silicone that I use. You don't want anything intact with the wood. You don't want moisture to get in it. That piece I cut out here, this is all sealed with silicone. You'll see I use this water non-toxic heavy duty waterproof tape. I end up taping everything over here. You can see I taped it up here along the edges of the back. I even put it over here because there was like a slight gap there, but yeah, so see it's all everything around here. And the reason why I did that is because you can see this kind of water here, that's from the filter, just shooting water off. So nothing's in contact with the wood. So back to the substrate. So yeah, so I put this jungle mix in my terrarium just because I learned the hard way and I ended up using coconut fiber, and my dragons do not like coconut fiber. And you actually read up about it, it actually irritates them, it irritates the eyes. So this one over here, this is Lily. She actually ended up taking it to the exotic vet because she got some irritation in her eye. There was substrate in her eyes, there was substrate in her nose. So she actually got put on antibiotics. Here's the antibiotics right here that I end up putting in her eyes like twice a day, just because of the damage the substrate did. So it's important that you choose the right substrate for the humidity and the health of the animals. And the substrate I used is from Zilla. It's jungle mix, has moss in there, and it actually acts as a good substrate for a reptile enclosure. So keep in mind this is a high humidity enclosure because I have Chinese water dragons, whether you're going to have iguanas or in something so big like this. So always make sure you mold it the way that it can hold humidity. So this over here, this glass here, the reason why I put that there, you can use a different type of viewing thing, like almost like I keep on forgetting the name of it, but yeah, well, pretty much you could use mesh or something like that, but I like this. It's better for viewing and it holds humidity in this enclosure, so I recommend you get something like that. So also when you put these in, make sure you pre-drill. You can see I've pre-drilled here, but I'm not going to use this hole because I've decided the screws should be in a different place to make it more sturdy. So yeah, so the substrate are covered, and like I said, make sure you get the right substrate for your reptile and something that can hold humidity. You'll see I put some little pieces of wood here. That's because I want to keep my wood pieces I have here sturdy, so it doesn't move. You can see it doesn't move. And yeah, so also I got myself a long UVB bulb, which I actually up screwing inside here. And also you'll see this is like an old what you call it, lid that I had for a reptile cage, which I end up screwing inside the wood itself, so this thing cannot lift or move. And this is for my heat bulbs. Also, when you want to put heat bulbs in here, you don't want to have your heat bulbs, you don't want inside your enclosure, just for safety purposes of your animal. If one of these bulbs blow, heat bulbs blow, you don't want it to harm your animal, and also you don't want your animal jumping on heat bulbs inside your enclosure. So it's highly important that they are outside. UVB bulbs, fine, it doesn't let off enough heat, and you can see there's quite a big distance, so if you do jump they're going to come very short. So yeah, it's just a thought. This is my humidifier. It misses the tank when I find the humidity low. I'm actually sweating, that's how warm it is in here, and the humidity is so high in this. So yeah, yeah, so then the fun part comes is when I end up decorating this all. So yeah, at the end of the video I'll end up giving you how much I actually paid for this to build this whole enclosure. So yeah, So this pieces of wood that I end up making almost like a jungle looking thing. I actually got these pieces of wood outside, like sticks, and you must probably thinking, how are you taking out sticks from outside and bringing it inside a reptile enclosure? Guys, I did sterilize every single piece of wood that I got from outside to put in this enclosure. I ended up baking it in the oven, soaking it. The whole process of curing this wood to make it safe for my reptiles took about over 12 hours. So if you're going to do anything like take any outside pieces of wood, highly recommend you go and sterilize the wood, watch YouTube videos how to do it so it can make it safe for your reptiles. So yeah, so I end up making putting these sticks in here and made it very solid so it doesn't collapse and fall on them. Also I end up getting some vine that I got at the pet store. It's kind of expensive. I paid $22 for this, but you can get it cheaper. But this is like quite long and it's very sturdy and strong. So I got this also vine here, which was a bit cheaper, but I'm not really a fan of it, so I might just get another piece of vine to make it awesome in here. And then plants. Another benefit of having plexiglass at the back here is that it sticks. If you have these suction plants, it's you see there, it sticks nicely to it, and if it does to stick to wood, if it sticks to wood, it will fall down, and what, it doesn't really last long. So this is fairly new that I got, so I'm going to put a lot more plants in this. So yeah, see what you see here might change in a few days. So yeah, so this I actually ended up getting from Walmart. I washed this down thoroughly before putting it in and make sure it's non-toxic. So it's like a little fern that I put in here. And also I got some moss over here that I also got at a reptile store. It's called Spanish moss. It actually absorbs moisture, so it's also good for the humidity and safe for the reptile. I've got some hanging down there at the back there, so it's pretty cool. It's another piece I found outside which I ended up curing myself, and there's like a little ramp over here which I don't really use, but they just jump all over the show. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So also make sure you check your humidity in this enclosure. You see I have a thermometer there. I only had this one, but I have three more coming in. I got 3 digital ones coming in a shipment that I ordered on Amazon. And there's going to be one put right on top there, one in the middle and one at the bottom, so I keep track of the temperature all around in this enclosure. But I do check my thermometers regularly. I end up putting a few ones from my other reptile cage. There's one over there with my bearded dragon, and I have another one down there. But yeah, so by tomorrow or the next day I'm going to have all 3 digital thermometers. If you want to be fancy, you can get a decent one of those thermometer guns, or one that you put outside and tracks the humidity and the heat. It's very important that you have something like this to keep track of what's going on in your terrarium for the health of the animals. Yeah, so now I just wanted to tell you what I did to the outside. You'll see that there's a nice black frame which I painted with chalk paint. It's non-toxic and it dries really easy, doesn't let off much fumes. Also, going back to inside, if you're going to put sealant, or when you do, because you can't just not put sealant in here, but the silicone has like a vinegary smell, paints and sealants and that stuff, all of it comes with fumes. So it's important before you put anything, whether it's decor or stuff in there, make sure you dry everything out in this cage and that you don't smell any fumes. If you can smell it, your reptiles will smell it and it's going to harm them. So it's important that there's no fumes present in your enclosure. You can see I also sealed it over here, so there's no contact here. So let me go and tell you how much I paid for everything. So this is a huge if I stand next to it, I'm like this. It's okay, I can't really describe. I'm doing this with a cell phone. So yeah, this whole cabinet that I bought at the thrift store. If you're in Florida, check out Faith Farm. They have a lot of cabinets, and I obviously got the biggest one. This could hold the iguana and water dragons if you're gonna need a big enclosure. And the reason why I end up doing this all myself, because if you search how much custom-made enclosure costs, you're looking about $2,000 to $3,000. You can go up as high as $5,000. And you know, it's much funner buying something old like this and turning it into something awesome. It's much more funner to do, and you can design it any way you want. So yeah, so I paid $40 for everything here, like from top to bottom, the whole cabinet. So only $40 at a thrift store. And obviously I bought a few tools. This little jigsaw is for home projects. I only paid, this is the brand, at Home Depot. I only paid $30 for it. So it's for home projects, so it's ideal for doing home projects like this. I had a drill, so I didn't need to buy one, but I ended up buying screws and all that. I spent maybe about $25 on screws. Plexiglass, I ended up paying, they're quite expensive, they're like $23 a piece, and I bought 3 pieces, so you times that by 3. This tarp I paid $15 for at Home Depot. It's a huge piece, I still have a lot left. This waterproof non-toxic tape, I ended up paying about $20 for a huge roll. Still a little bit on the expensive side, but you know, you rather spend a little extra to get the best quality, and it's really strong. Reptile lights, all these decor, you can't really cost in making this whole thing because it's all optional. That's why you have a big thing, but this was expensive at Petco. I think I paid about $40 for the holder as well as the bulb. Fogger I had, so I didn't have to spend money on that. Plants, pretty much just this and the moss I bought. I had everything else, so I ended up taking from the 40-gallon that I kept them in and moving it into this. The big bag of substrate I bought on Amazon for $22, so check it out. You can get a smaller bag, but I got the 24 quart bag, so it's for $22. I always have some left over if I need to change the substrate. Filters I had. Guys, you don't have to go and get a custom-made water bowl. This is like a plastic tub that I actually also bought at Home Depot, but you can get it at Walmart. They're really cheap, it's like $9, and it lasts for a while. And the reason why I have this filter is, I think I mentioned it earlier, but it keeps the water clean. These animals poop a lot. You have fish in here, little guppies, so the filter causes movement and everything. So I highly recommend a filter. Otherwise, if you're just going to have a tub here with water for them, and you know, you just change it out all the time, which some people don't really have the time for. But yeah, this will keep it going for a while. And what I do, I end up emptying half the water and topping up with fresh water now and then, just as you would do with a fish tank. So it's also check your pH level and get the right. I got this stuff that I put in there, it takes the chlorine out, but you see all the bottles of water here that I get delivered to my house. I end up using filtered water and put it there, and I still put this drops in just to clean it, to give it to keep the water clear and whatever needs to be in here. So yeah, so this is pretty much it. And where was I with costs and that stuff? The sticks I didn't pay for anything. And obviously screws and that stuff are paid, and yeah, that was pretty much. And obviously the hard labor you need to put in something like this. And also guys, I want to mention that when you have an old cabinet like that, this one's pretty sturdy. You have to put pressure in to open it, but a lot of them just flip open. So when these water dragons get bigger, they could like lean against this and the doors could swing open. So I recommend you get a lock that you put up here that will lock them in. I don't have one to show you, but it's, yeah, you want to keep this door closed as much. For ventilation, there's quite a bit of ventilation in here. But yeah, there's a lot of ventilation coming in here. There's a hole that I sealed which you can still get ventilation through. And also if you look on top, which is not huge, but there's like a little gap here, that's for ventilation too. Well, if you want to go and cut a big hole here and put almost like a air filter here that you'll find at your AC units, parts like that, you can do that. But like I said, there's enough ventilation here and it holds humidity really well. So yeah, so overall cost that I spent out of pocket with the cabinet and all these little parts I bought for it, including the home jigsaw, cost me set me back about 300 bucks, comparing to 2,000 to 6,000 for buying a custom-made enclosure, and that's not including decor in it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'm fairly new to YouTube, so if you can subscribe will be awesome. And I'm definitely going to be doing more videos on what I feed my animals. Like just for example, look how cool these are, roaches. They go like crazy in there. I feed my reptiles. I've got some super worms, but in my next video I'll show you exactly what I feed them and why I feed them, especially this one. This one tends to be very picky when it eats. So yeah, so give this video a thumbs up and I'll catch you in my next video. Goodbye.